And welcome to this week's Cruise Chat. I'm Kathleen Penner, owner of Polynesia Sunshine Travel, and today I'm joined by Cindy, and Cindy is from Norwegian Cruise Line, and I have had the sheer pleasure of meeting with Cindy many, many times. So make sure that you go back and look at the playlist that we have, because there's some really phenomenal episodes in there. But stick around, because we're going to be talking about her personal experience in the South Polynesian Islands, and I'm so excited about this topic. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Kathleen, and hi, everyone. Hi. Welcome to this new video. I'm excited because it's been quite a few times, Kathleen, that we've been actually recording those episodes, and I'm always very excited because there's so much to talk about cruising. We never know what to pick. And Kathleen went with these great ideas, like, why you just don't speak about your very own and last experience on Norwegian? And I was like, that's just amazing, because absolutely nothing's better than an actual real vacation.
Absolutely.
And you know what I mean? You know what and whereas my next cruise is going to make me sail in the British Isle in May, I wanted to speak today about another kind of islands, maybe not exactly the same part of the world, because indeed I've been actually to Hawaii and French Polynesia on our beautiful Norwegian Spirit. So just to give you a little heads up, so this actual cruise is part of what we call the extraordinary journey. So let me help you to discover what it is exactly.
We're the believers, the dreamers, the beers, the never giving uppers, the lovers. We are the fire igniters, the triers, the let the love insiders, the fighters. We are. The believers, the dreamers, the beers, the never giving uppers, the lovers. We are the fire igniters, the triers, the let the love insiders, the fighters. We are.
An extraordinary journey. Just to see those images, I'm like, I want to go already. But yes, an extraordinary journey for Norwegian. It's basically longer itineraries, such as this one. So that was actually my last vacation. So I have to say that most of our first-time cruiser would typically go, for example, on 7 days, maybe a 7-day cruise to Caribbean, for example, close to home, maybe a 7-day to Alaska, maybe a week, maybe 10 days to Mediterranean. But we have basically those kind of itineraries that are really out of beaten tracks. They happen just a very, very few times a year, if not already once, only once it can happen. So this itinerary, for example, I was on, happened 6 times last year only, and I was on one of them. So those itineraries are typically longer, minimum 9 days, and they are very port intensive with smaller ships. Smaller ships because it enables us to visit different ports with smaller capacity as well. So that's why actually those journeys, if you've been already on the typical 7-day Caribbean cruise, March break, that could be actually a very, very good alternative. Like if you have a few more days you can spare for your vacation time, it's fantastic. And why I picked actually this itinerary, I would tell you why. It was during COVID. As you know, for a couple of years we could not go anywhere, and I was like, I want to go somewhere. So I saved my days, basically. And that's when I noticed this map. And I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to go to Hawaii, never been before. I always wanted to go to French Polynesia, never been before. I was born and raised in France, and French Polynesia happens to be the farthest territory of France in the world, literally on the other side of the planet. And I was like, when I see this is basically a bunch of islands, right? If we want to make it simple, it's just a lot of islands. And I was like, travel it's not next door. So if I have to spend those quite a few hours to get there, how can I make the best of my time without spending any single minutes of my days traveling from an island to another? Because that's what I want. So should I go that far just to stick to one or two islands over 10 days, or should I visit as much as I can? Because of course I'm not sure when I will be back to when I will be able to go back.
Right.
And I was looking at these itineraries. I was like, remember, with a cruise, your hotel is the cruise ship, and it's traveling at night for you. So basically, you just wake up every single day almost in a new port. You just have to get off the ship, explore, and come back and go to the next port. You don't waste any single minute of travel. You don't waste any single minute to explore. And when you have like this, I'm talking about 7, 8 islands. Imagine if you had to do that during the day. Wake up early, go to either an airport or maybe
go through security. It's a waste of time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
get another ship. What's the cost would be like? There's something I forgot actually when I was on before I went on that vacation. It's vacation mood, which is like I love to do nothing. I love to be able to wake up early or late if that's what I want. And that's when it made a whole bunch of sense. And to be honest, to this day, now I'm back, I know I am biased, but it was probably one of the best trips of my life. Wonderful. And the first reason being, well, you can see here this very serious person next to me is my mother. She was in France. She still lives in France. And we were looking at having a sort of vacation together, just my mom and I, just to reconnect, rebond together. And it was perfect because what she did, she flew from Paris to Los Angeles. I flew from Toronto to LA as well. Just happened, it was an absolute coincidence, but it was the American Thanksgiving Day. So LA, the airport was absolutely empty. It was fabulous because everybody was with their family. And we just connected here and we basically traveled the last leg together, the last flight, all the way up to Honolulu. So that was amazing. So yeah, we connected. We had a little photo shoot.
I like that. That's awesome.
It was really, really nice. So once we get there, what we've decided to do, number one, was to go to Honolulu. Like we spent a couple of days prior to the beginning of the sailing. I personally believe you should never, ever go on a cruise and fly on a day off. We know things can happen. You can have delays with your flights. There could be, if you go to France, national sports strikes, you don't want to take the risk. And it's just a peace of mind. And to be honest, for such a beautiful destination, that's a great opportunity to visit more about the actual city where you're embarking from. And that's what we did. So basically, we flew a couple of days before and no regrets whatsoever. It was amazing. We found a nice little hotel next to Waikiki Beach. And that's the first thing that came to my mind is like, for some reason, I didn't know what to expect from Honolulu. I had something really bad in I had 5-0. I had this cliche and I was like, oh my God, what kind of city, like very 80s. And I was so pleasantly surprised by the city. It was just fabulous.
It's nice to be surprised that way than the other way. So good for you.
Exactly. Oh, absolutely. Yes. And what I've also did, that was Waikiki Beach, which was beautiful. So you had those surfboard like on TV. You had like plenty of shops and stores downtown. It's super clean. The beach is fabulous. This picture actually is not the best of mine, because by the way, all those pictures are mine. Because the beach is just absolutely huge, and it was absolutely gorgeous as well. So we've been exploring. It was really neat. What I really loved, it was those trees that you have a little bit over the cities. They are so old. They are absolutely huge. Huge. You have this kind of architecture that is like almost colonial. Actually, that's what actually like struck me. There's a lot of those kind of buildings, really white. It's super nice. It's super neat. But I really, really enjoyed it. So what we've done as well. So when you are in Honolulu, you can actually either stick to the beach pretty much in shopping, or you can go and visit actually like the rest of the island. So what we've done, because that's something I really wanted. I'm a huge fan of movies. So I've been extremely selfish on that one. But you have this ranch that is about, I think it was a 45 minutes drive, but to be honest, Uber works actually in
Yeah.
In Hawaii, remember you are in United States, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
when you
Right.
get there, well, it's like just crossing the border. So and
Mhm.
the prices were really good, to be honest. So it enabled us to get there. And
Good.
this ranch is very famous, of course, for horses and this kind, but because it's a location where multiple movies are actually shot when you need to have
Mm.
those kind of exotic backgrounds. So
Yeah.
you had, of course, very famous, you can guess already here. So we had, for example, Jurassic Park.
Right.
When you think about Jurassic Park and this very first famous scene when you see the waterfall in the background when the helicopter is going down, it's
Mm.
not Costa Rica, like it says in the
Oh, yeah.
in Hawaii. There's Godzilla as well that was
Mhm.
shot here. There's the TV show Lost, for
Lost.
example,
Yeah.
was
When you showed me that tree in the last slide, I'm like, that tree looks like the trees that lost. Yeah.
exactly. So that was here. One of my very first and favorite rom-com ever is 50 First Dates. I love
That
that
was
movie
there. Neat.
with Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler, and that was actually here that it was shot. So it was really interesting because this
Yeah.
place organizes a lot of different mini tour depending on
Mhm.
what you want to do. So what I did was the Hollywood tour, so I could visit those locations. So it was really plenty of fun. They can tell you like all those movies that where you actually have a few scenes, if not the whole movies that have been shot here. You could even visit the bunker actually from Lost. So it was really really neat. It was literally like on this road you were seeing on the top of the mountain almost when you could see the water. You had those huge, very very typical mountains as well from Hawaii. When I picture Hawaii in my head, this is what I see. And
Yeah.
because it was a ranch, of course, there was plenty of animals, and they were growing their own food and chocolate. Actually, that of course I brought back a lot of them, so
Neat.
that was really nice. And if you have kids in particular, that's a lot of fun. Because they kept basically like the footprint of
Mm.
King
Mm.
Kong and Godzilla. So it's really fun. You can get there. So that's the famous road in 50 First Dates. And you have actually those signs a little bit everywhere that reminds you actually what was filmed on this precise location of the park. So that's a lot of fun, to be honest. And
It looks like
um,
beautiful, like wide open spaces. I love the color of the sky. That's such a gorgeous blue. What good shots you took.
it
Beautiful.
was amazing. And actually, on our way back, so it was the end of the afternoon. So when actually my mom was like, oh, let's go back to the hotel, let's have a drink. Well, I was seeing this. So this is the Diamond's Head, which is a volcano that
Yep.
actually you can see a little bit from everywhere, from
Mhm.
Waikiki Beach. And actually, this is a national park, and you can climb on the top. It's really, I have to say, it's very steep. Okay, so you have to get good
Good
legs,
workout.
but
Mhm.
it was totally worth it, and it's very secured. I think I paid like $5 for an entry ticket, and you can do it literally from your phone. So that's
Mhm.
really nice. So I climbed up there. It was on a total impulse, last minute impulse. I had no good shoes. I had no water. I have absolutely nothing. But I really wanted to do it because that was the day after that we would embark on the ship. So I would have no opportunity to
Mhm.
come back anytime soon because the cruise was ending in French Polynesia. So
Right.
it was close to the sunset, so you can see a little bit the colors changing. Sorry, my hairs were really windy on that one, but you have a fantastic view, 360 degrees over Honolulu. So that was really, really neat. And it was 10 minutes drive actually from my hotel. And
Beautiful.
night, so we came back to home and we had this fantastic dinner. It was actually a place downtown in a hotel actually that is called Archides, and it was gorgeous. It was absolutely
Mm.
great. I mean, especially if you love fresh food, fresh seafood,
Right.
Pacific is definitely the place for you. Tuna is their very top produce, and it's gorgeous. Whereas in Ontario, we tend to have the very same stuff, but has been frozen in between. So it's not exactly the same taste. Here you have like it's literally out of the sea in the morning. So that was great. And at night, because once again we were over Thanksgiving weekend, I didn't know this one was a total chance, but we had this huge parade downtown where all the high schools of the island and they were coming, all the marching bands of those high schools were coming, and they had like this Christmas parade, even though we were still in November at the time. But
Mhm.
it was a lot of fun. So for my mom, for example, who's still in Europe, for us, we do not have marching bands, we do not have
Right.
Thanksgiving, we do not have parades for Christmas, not exactly the same. So she had a total blast. It was amazing. So
Once in a lifetime thing for her to see too. That's great.
it was amazing. It was amazing. So yeah, so the day after, so we
Mhm.
headed to the port to embark on the Spirit. So if you never heard of the Norwegian Spirit, this is actually one of our very first baby from the fleet. So she's actually one of the smallest with roughly 2,000 passenger occupancy. So that our size enables us to go to many different ports because some
Right.
people actually don't know it, but each port in the world can accommodate a certain class of ships or sizes of ships, to be
Mhm.
exact. So it means that see it as a parking lot. If you go to your supermarket, so you have the standard parking slots, and you may have a couple of them for SUV, and then you're going to have another one for RVs, maybe. But usually, when you talk about RVs, you only have three or four, right? So
Right.
whereas you may have 200 spots for the smallest car, so
Mhm.
that's exactly the same in a port. You have actually only that many spots that can accommodate big ships. So having a smaller one, we're not talking about those super mega ships you may hear about sometimes in the press. We're just 2,000 passengers. Believe me, it's really not a lot. I loved her because usually myself, I have to say, I have a confession. I'm more actually a fan of bigger ships, usually. Or bigger swan, they are perfect, they are 4,000. I like them because they are not those big, super mega ships. They
Right.
are good size, so they have plenty of things to do on board.
Mhm.
So, and
Mhm.
it tends to be the newest, which is true. Even though this one, the Spirit, I mean, we're talking about 1998, it's about what? Like, not a lot, basically, a little bit over 20 years, but
Yeah.
she's entirely refurbished. Actually, technically, it was 2020,
Mm.
and she was just refurbished. It was like many millions of dollars of refurbishment, like to the steel. We
Mhm.
broke down everything to replace everything. It was just not about changing the curtains only, right?
Yeah.
And
It
funny enough,
basically the hole is left, but everything on the inside is just brand spanking new and it's
exactly. You can see
overdone.
the
Yeah.
steel. You can see like the skeleton of
Mhm.
the ship. So that's a lot of fun to see that. And funny enough, she was back to water in March 1st,
Yes.
2020. So
Mhm.
it's just about ringing a bell for you. I had people
Yep.
because it was a very first comeback journey. And it was an extraordinary journey, funny enough. She was departing from Dubai all
Mhm.
the way down. It was a 3 weeks journey all the way down to Cape Town.
Oh, that
Uh,
would have been beautiful. But
it was
yeah.
amazing. It was supposed to go to Kenya, Tanzania, Seychelles, Madagascar. It was going to a lot of beautiful places. But
Mhm.
well, just a few days after departures, COVID happens.
Right.
Actually, upon departure, we were starting to hear a few things about COVID, but we were not sure. It was like, is it the flu, right? Do you
Yeah,
remember?
it was that unknown at the beginning, right? And then the 30-day
Correct,
pause of operations, which turned
correct.
into 2 and some odd years. Yeah.
And we had actually passengers here, and the she ended up in Cape Town, but it was just like 48 hours before the whole country shut down for both inbound and outbound flights. So all
Right.
passengers were kind of, I won't say lucky, but and funny enough, I was kind of concerned because we had to shut down the port at the time. Like remember, it was a time where countries would shut down their borders the one
Mhm.
after the other. It was like a domino, like during that week
Was.
until finally
Mhm.
on March 13th, globally, everybody says big shutdown, all the
Right.
countries. So our passengers on the ship were like basically like, sorry, today your port is closing. We should get to the next port tomorrow. And then they would get onto the next port tomorrow and they would be sorry, it's shutting down again. And I was a little worried. I was like, oh, poor passenger, it's so unfortunate. And I kid you not, the feedback I had after that, because of course I spoke to my travel advisors, they
Right.
were like, they had a blast. It
Yeah.
was like a brand new ship. That was the feeling. And you know what? There's nothing we as a cruise line or the passengers could do about it.
Mhm.
So they just decided to make the best of their
Oh,
time.
I
So
love that attitude. Having a positive attitude just makes so much better.
yeah, no, it,
So
it was amazing. And
that's
actually,
great.
and then from that point, the well shut down, and funny enough, so the Spirit, she came back to waters in May last year in French Polynesia in Hawaii. That was our big comeback. So that's why we talk about 2022. Technically, it's like she's brand new. She was literally brand new when I've been, and that was really the feeling. So when we embarked actually in Honolulu, so that was nice. So we were, terminal. So my mom, she got a flower,
Nice.
the flower necklace. That was fun. Those were actual fresh flowers. I didn't know that myself. So it's a little neat touch, right? It's like you're in Hawaii. Of course you want your flower necklace. And if you were a gentleman, you would get a sort of seashell, those mini seashells, which is the traditional one. The
I
men
always
don't
wondered what the
flowers.
males got. I thought they had to wear the flowers, but they have one for them.
No, I wish, but I'm sure if you ask to get the flowers, I'm sure.
Yeah, beautiful.
So it was really neat. We just show up to the terminal. I say hi on the other pier because the pier is literally downtown. I kid you not, because I embarked in the morning and the ship was not leaving before 7. And I forgot a couple of things and was like, oh, I need to go to CVS, which is like the actual shoppers in US. And I literally could get off the ship and walk in 10 minutes. I was downtown finding a CVS. So
Beautiful.
It's so convenient to get there. It's super easy. And what the good upside of getting on board early when you can is you can start exploring the ship basically. So you can just chill in your room if it's ready. You can tour the ship. You can already, if you want to have a little jump in the jacuzzi. Oh, that's exactly what I did. But you can actually start right away. So that jacuzzi and that hot tub, we were extremely friends. Good
Especially after your hike the day before, right? I'm sure your legs were a little sore, so just relax in there.
It was so nice. And we have actually hot tubs, what I love on the Spirit. We have actually 2 different swimming pools. We have this one that you can see on the picture that was basically the one for all the guests on board. And we have a place on board called Spice H2O. And this area, which is at the back of the ship, is adult only. So you have a bar, but there's another swimming pool. It's nice and neat. And you have all the hot tubs all over the place. So it was really, really nice. So then we basically departed on that night. And then I woke up in Kahului, which was our first port of call in actual Hawaii. So I'm sorry, one thing I found out about Hawaii is the chickens. They are all over the place.
They're everywhere. Yeah. Oh goodness.
It's there were so many. I had this little game at the beginning. I was like, oh, I'm going to give a name to all the chickens. Nice to see all the roosters. And actually, there was so many I had to give up on my little game. But yeah, because they don't fly. We ask is they're all basically wandering around in freedom. So we ask locals, is what about the chicken? And it's well, yeah, they don't fly. So they cannot run away really. So you can see them, you see families with little chicks. It's super, super nice. So on that day, when you're on a cruise, you can choose. Whenever you are at the port, do you want to get off the ship and explore by yourself? Or do you want to go on an excursion that is organized either by us, could be an independent tour agency. This is your call. On that day, we didn't see anything that we really wanted to. We wanted to relax a little bit. It was still a big traveling. We had a little bit of jet lag, started to hit us, especially my mom. She was flying from France, which is a 12 hours difference. So with me from Toronto, it was 5 hours. It was not that bad. So we just decided to have a little walk around, and there was this beautiful place actually. Oops, I went too fast, but there was literally a lighthouse at this point. So we went to that lighthouse. We met actually with locals, and they were so nice. They are all so welcoming. That's something I was really baffled in both Hawaii and French Polynesia, is how welcoming people are. It's it was super, super neat. So it was a really nice.
That's nice to see that.
So on this second day, we were in Nāwiliwili. And here I took an excursion with my mom. We've been to see the canyon. So there's a lot of natural wonders, of course, in all the islands of Hawaii. So, and I have this little video. So that was just this fantastic view. We were on the top, and we could see, you see waterfalls at the background. So it was with those misty kind of mountains, fog in the morning, those colors, those kind of ochres and green. It was really, really neat.
Beautiful.
So something you can do at night, of course, because once your ship is traveling from point A to point B, well, there's a lot to do on board. You can choose to eat, which I obviously made a point of doing. There was a casino, so I tried my luck. Fortunately, I still have to work, as you can see, so I did not win the jackpot. But the following day, that was fun. It was in Maui. I always wanted to go to Maui, so that was really neat. And you see, it was Christmas. So Christmas in Hawaii, it's a little bit when you picture Christmas in Australia, for example. It's like usually Christmas for me is like Santa Claus and snow. Well, here it was like local bears and definitely the I've been actually decided to do an excursion that would lead me to the top of a volcano park. So basically that you have in the middle of the island. And I'm a huge fan, I told you, of movie. And one of my top favorites is Lord of the Rings. And to be honest, that's how I felt on that place, because you have those little paths that is made of stone. And I felt I was literally in the movie. And plus on that day, so weather, can be a gamble. And on that day, it was a little covered, a little grayish. And I was like, oh my God, that looks so much like the movie. I really had a blast. And you were actually on the top. It was at 10,000 feet high at this point above the ocean. So it's like, it's funny, like the guy was like, okay, if you feel lightheaded, do not sit down, because if you sit down, you're going to pass out. And I was like, what's going on? So no, everybody was fine. No worry. But it was really a fantastic view. Maui is great for shopping as well, which is my second favorite sport after eating on board. So it was a really nice place. And funny enough, those days they go really, really fast, to be extremely honest. It's like, you take on a minibus, you go to wherever you want to see, and it goes really fast. So when I was in Maui, I visited these little churches. Funny enough, the guide, which was with me, he was so nice, and he made me dream. I will hold that against him until the rest of my life, because he was like, oh, it's talking to me. He's like, oh, Jason Momoa. And I'm like, of course, Khal Drogo from Game of Thrones. Of course I know Jason Momoa. Like, so he's from Hawaii. And I was like, yeah, I think I remember, like, Kenny Reeves. She's like, can you, if you listen to me? So there was like, you cannot help when you're really like an actor, you're looking around, and it was like, well, actually is filming now in the island a TV show about his culture, about the actually Hawaiian culture, and he's right here at the moment across the street. And I was like, are you telling me I could see Jason Momoa? But he was not there yet. So I didn't see Jason Momoa. He was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Of course, I had to try the spam and eggs.
Yep.
Local I tried. So not my cup of tea.
I don't see the draw, but Hawaiians love it. So
I had to try. I had to try. It's a Hawaiian typical breakfast. And I was like, whereas the rice and eggs were absolutely delicious, I have to say spam was not myself, but I tried. And finally, this is George, the rooster. He's my favorite rooster of my world trip. So this is George, always in my heart.
Amazing.
So now we had actually this very same day as well, same excursion. They drove us to an actual beach. But as you know, Hawaii, so the Hawaiian Islands, they are made of what? Volcanoes. So it means that basically the beach are not like white sand or yellow sands. They're actually like actual black sands. And it was funny, we were on that beach, and you can see here, there was those little, the safeguard house. You can picture Malibu, right? With David Hasselhoff running in the sunset. Here it was on this black sand beach. It was so weird, so unusual, and I adored it. I think it was so different. It was just absolutely amazing. So you can see. So I stayed there about half an hour, and it was beautiful weather. It was plenty of sunshine on that day, but it was. I mean, the temperature is really nice. Everybody wears a t-shirt, and it was surreal, to be honest. To think that I'm in the middle of the Pacific on that island on a volcanic beach, and just like watching at the water, and I'm like, okay, it was just fantastic. It was so peaceful. That was the wow. Because the locals truly, and it was the same in Hawaii and the French Polynesia. Locals really go to the beach after work at night, so it's really nice. And talking about night, one of my favorite time. That's one of my tips if you ever go on this kind of cruises. I tend to be an early either when it's about dinner. I tend to have my dinner very early. My mom is the same, around 6 o'clock. I know. But what is great is like we spend an hour, and once actually we get out 7:30, but everybody who has normal schedules, not like me, they are all in the dining room. So which means basically the hot tubs are empty, the pool deck is empty. So we had, like you see here, it's my mom. So we had each a hot tub. There was the giant screen, so we could enjoy a lot of time. And it was nice because like the night would fall and we could see the stars coming up. It was absolutely brilliant.
And you
That
still
was
get
really
that
my favorite
warm
part.
ocean breeze to keep you, not getting cold, and you're just loving it. Yeah, I do the same thing actually. After dinner, I like to go and go to the pool deck and hang out. And sometimes there's even like movies playing or some kind of activity, and it's just so nice to be up there. Nobody else
It
is
was
there.
super nice because I think the hot tubs, they were open until 10, if I remember.
Right. Yeah.
So that was nice. So from that point, when we were done, basically, so that's everything you have to do on the ship. So here's a little snap. But I spent sometimes, of course, eating, but there was as well the spa. So
Well,
here's
yeah.
actually of the back of the ship. I was talking about this adult only section. So that's the swimming pool. And what I really loved with it, you had the big wide open. It's the back of the ship, and I always loved it. The aft. You can just see the water is great. So that was the locally, so 24/7 complimentary dining options. And my cabin was literally looking like this. So it's not a brand new ship, 1998, but inside and outside it felt like it was
Yes.
brand new. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure that the airplane I was on to fly there was older than my ship.
I
So
bet.
it was
Yeah. And the
really, really.
colors are so relaxing and so beautiful. I like that.
So that did it. I took it when we were leaving. Actually, Hawaii, that was the last night, and we were on our way to French Polynesia. So that was the sunset. And as you can see, so the hot tub here, you can see them here, for example, there are two. So
Beautiful.
those are just amazing. When you stay there, basically, you just have the brand new, it's amazing. But it was the wind, you can hear it a little bit, but it was absolutely gorgeous. And the sunset, sunrise, whatever you call it, they are true thing here in actually Pacific, and they are just gorgeous. But yeah, a little other hint, a little of a few pictures, because on that moment I was on my way for 4 days at sea, because that's the distance between Hawaii and French Polynesia. And to be honest, at the time I was a little, I would say, concerned, because I knew I was on vacation. I always have something to do, but I was like, okay, 4 days at sea, what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
And
'cause you're a real go-getter. You like to keep active, right? Which is great for
correct.
cruising, but sea days, you were concerned. Yeah.
Correct. And you know what? Even I had a look, because we offered as well on different ships. You have the opportunity to do a 7-day Hawaii or a 7-day French Polynesia. So I was like, what if I don't do both of them and I just fly between islands, for example? Because actually, funny enough, the price difference was not that huge between both. But the flight schedule was terrible.
Right.
I mean, the connections between French Polynesia and Hawaii, there's what I think it was twice a week. So it meant that we would have had to disembark for the first cruise, wait another 3 full days before eventually being able to fly there. It was very expensive as well. So
Right.
I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay there. I'm just going to chill it. To be honest, I forgot once again what it was to be on vacation, because when
Right.
I am on my ships, most of the time I'm here for work. I'm here
Yes.
with groups. I'm here to host seminars at sea.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong. I have a fantastic office view that I would not exchange for the
Yes.
whole world, but it's
Mhm.
still business. I'm taking care of my clients. We have plenty of events to cover. It's never the same. Here, I was on my own. I didn't have to dress up with business suits. I just didn't have to wear my makeup. The only person I had to account for was my mom. So
Perfect.
basically, I did nothing for 4 days, and it was absolutely amazing.
Good for
It
you.
was great. I just, something I really like to do even when I'm home. I
Mhm.
love music. I live music. I listen to music all day. So here I was just like on my balcony in my cabin, just with my music on my head, just watching the ocean. And I was born next to the ocean. I was born in Normandy. So ocean means a lot to me, like
Yes.
a
Yep. You're
real
drawn
lot.
to that water, to the ocean. Yeah.
And it was amazing. And we had fantastic dinners every night. So Here it's a funny picture because we were at Onda, which is our Italian restaurant, which is like so good. This picture here is from Cagney, which is our steakhouse. But it's funny because like we were not too hungry, and I told my mom, I said, she was like, "Oh, I want the veal," and it was like, I know that dish because I had it a few times, and I told her it's big, it's big. She already had enough food to start, and I'm like, don't order it now because it's big. And she's like, no, no, I don't believe you, blah, blah, blah. Especially because the portions are so smaller in our culture in France. And that plate came out, and you can see her face. She was like,
she's in shock.
What did I do? What did I do?
You warned her. You knew what you were talking about.
And it was as delicious as it looked. So
And
I
did
helped
she
her.
finish it? Was she able to finish it?
No,
No.
of course not. But I helped her a little bit
Good
because I
job.
hate wasting food.
Yeah,
So
I
here,
agree.
this picture is actually the main dining room because, of course, on board you have the choice between complimentary options or you may have specialty dining that comes with an upcharge. But what I really wanted to highlight, and that's the case fleet-wide, it's not because you're in a complimentary location that it means you're not going to have a beautiful place or great food. That is the main dining room, and I was baffled. It was the chandelier. They were just like so gorgeous. I couldn't stop staring at them. It's like on every ship we have different kinds of chandelier. Kathleen, you are Norwegian Prima, so you remember the one actually in the main dining room. Those were absolutely gorgeous, and service was great. We had actually amazing food, and it was once again this food was complimentary. We had an amazing time. I had no issue whatsoever going to the complimentary room.
Good.
About,
I love sunsets. Yeah.
We love them too. So we were having a balcony cabin, so that was our tradition. So the whole cruise was a 12-day, 12 nights. So we would just sit down at the time of sunset. We would just stop talking, which is a miracle for both my mom and I because we chatter. And I would just put my music on my ears and just watch the sunset. And we had like very different ones. And as you can imagine, even this picture might look beautiful. It was nothing compared to actual experience in real life. It was just amazing.
Yeah, I love sunset at seas just because I know that it's going to bring a whole new day tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like you're at sea, you're on the ship, and I just love sunsets. It's beautiful over the ocean.
It's beautiful.
Oh, look at that.
So on the day after 4 days, they're actually funny enough, and I kid you not, they just passed like that. Those 4 days, I didn't see them passing. It was amazing. And before I even realized it, I was in French Polynesia. I was in France, so it was amazing. Yeah. So we started our journey here. It was Moorea, so it was just the first view, like beautiful. Those waters were absolutely incredible, crystal blue. What I did on the first day was water on my face, but when it's 27 degrees outside, you absolutely don't care. It's actually good to have a little bit of water here. Wow. So it's the water as you can dream about having. It's like crystal, it's transparent, it's crystal clear, transparent, bluish, turquoise. You can see the fishes, you can see everything through those waters. It was just absolutely fantastic. So what I did for today, look at that, those flowers. It was gorgeous. So I've been to visit a vanilla farm because I love vanilla. And funny enough, French Polynesia, you can find vanilla. It's like that is very, very unique and different flavor. If you love baking, if you love this kind of thing, you will know what I'm talking about. Yes. But about 95% of the supply worldwide of vanilla is coming mostly from Madagascar, Indian Oceans, basically. Only 5% is coming from this island. It's very, very different. Now we have the same in Kona, which is an island of Hawaii. They do a coffee that is extremely peculiar. So that's only on that place you can find it. Extremely difficult to find it worldwide. Very expensive to import. So this one was a little bit expensive, but I could buy them directly from the producers. And to be honest, those you can keep them for years and years and years. So they are right now in my kitchen because I bought a lot. And I put them in a jar, a few of them in a jar of rum, to be honest. And rum technically is supposed to help them to not rot, basically, because it kills the bacteria, right? It's and I use them to bake. I'm a huge baker. And funny enough, every time I use that jar to take a little piece of that vanilla, there's this flavor of vanilla rum now that is coming up to my nose. I'm like, so good. One day I'll do a really good cake.
See, that's what I love, right? Like just those small little sensory things bring back all those memories of your travels. And I think that's awesome.
I can
Yeah.
smell it. I can
Yeah.
smell that farm. It was amazing. So
Mhm.
for the day, we've been to this place as well when there was locals singing song. And yeah, that I had a blast. They played for about an hour and there was dancers coming down. So you could almost feel like, am I in Hawaii? And you're like, no, you are in French Polynesia because the culture is extremely similar, of course. But it was just so relaxing, so relaxing. It was so nice.
That's so
Yeah,
great. I love that style. Yeah, I like
it
that.
was a ton of fun. So, and for the day, I just basically went to different beaches. So you can see those are my knees. And basically, there was this first place. So that was next to where the lunch and the little concert was happening. And then after that, we've been into those little boats, basically like sailing up to another island, basically
Mhm.
where you get just the beach. It was amazing. So here, I've been to those waters, and there was a stingray basically that came to me because it's funny because all together, all people here, we kind of bond naturally in trying to spot animals. And I
Mhm.
was just there, I was hanging around, I was on my own. And there's this guy that is shouting at me, it's like, stingrays, stingrays. And I have a look and she's just passing next to me. And it was a big wow. It's not a park, it's not a national park. There's no guide that was here to push them to me. It was just
Oh, in the
natural.
wild. Beautiful.
It
Oh,
was so
amazing.
nice.
And they're
And
so much bigger than you think that they would be, right? Like it's phenomenal.
exactly. So, and then after an excursion, when we were back, so the little boat went through that zone where it's known to have like sharks. So those are little sharks. They are not
Yeah.
really dangerous, to be honest. They are
Mhm.
very famous because they have a black top on their fin, on the back fin,
Okay.
and and I was basically in the boat. Of course, as part of my experience, well, I was in France. The last picture you was a supermarket where I could basically buy my French stuff to fly back to Canada with it because I'm
Yes.
missing everything like cheese and meat, of course. So here's as well the view we had on that night when we were leaving that island to another. And that's as well what is great with a cruise because
Mhm.
we always advocate for you guys to take a balcony cabin. So you're like,
Mhm.
what's the big deal with a balcony cabin? It's like, if I want to spend my whole day at the port, what's the big deal? And the big deal is about it. It's about always having basically access. Oh, it dropped to the ocean view and at any single time of
Yes.
your trip. So
Mhm.
that was amazing. On another day, I was in Bora Bora,
Mm.
which is a really lovely city, very famous as well for the pearls. Remember, we're in Tahiti, so you could find pearls all over the place. It was really, really nice.
And they're
And
black pearls, right?
that was one of my favorite things. Look at those waters. Look at those waters. There's no filters. There's nothing. I kid you not. Just getting there, I was on my way for an excursion. I almost didn't care about my excursion, to be honest. But this little boat I'm on, there was actually it's a glass bottom boat. So where you can see actually things from the
Yeah.
bottom of the ocean. So the deal was we were on our way, so we see actually stingrays. We've seen manta rays, basically. So those like the stingrays are fairly small. They are about, I would say, like I don't know, like no, I cannot do that on the screen, but they're
Yeah.
like maybe 60, 70 centimeters, which is still a good size, don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, but the actual manta rays, we're talking about 3-4 meters
Yeah.
wide. So those are just, and when they are at the bottom of the oceans, they are huge and they are so gracefully and slowly, basically, like swimming. And I've seen a family actually from the bottom of that boat. You can see them. That's a picture here. So those was actually that's a movie. So look at that. That was a manta ray. So you can hear everybody. You can hear people like
Yeah.
wow, and we are
Wow, the
literally.
shock, right? Yeah,
And then
amazing.
so on the side you can see that's the shark. So you can go into the water and swim with the sharks because they are absolutely not dangerous. So of
Goodness.
course it remains animals. So we were said do not touch them, of course not,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
they could be scared.
Mhm.
That's the risk of why actually a shark up there could bite you. because if you touch them, they would be scared. They would try to defend themselves. But otherwise, there was like thousands and thousands of them, and I was excited. I was a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
To be
Oh,
honest, it was
goodness.
amazing.
Yes. And your mom
Yeah.
probably loved it too there. Yeah.
Pardon?
Your mother would have loved that as well.
She would, but my
For
mom,
all
unfortunately,
ages.
she doesn't like little boats. So, but she
Oh,
regretted after the fact she didn't come with me on that one, and
yeah.
she regretted because she was like, "Oh,
Okay.
you're doing the fun stuff. Where was I?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Well,
I
you don't
know.
come with
But I mean, an activity like that is super for all ages because you get to see so much and explore, and it just draws all personalities and ages. But
me." Correct. Then we were to Moorea. That was almost the end of our cruise and then finally like going into Papeete. So Papeete, we arrived by night and we actually get off the ship on the following morning. So
yeah.
that was really nice to see. Like there was like so much light suddenly because all the previous islands. I mean, we talk about a couple of thousands of people who live there, so it's so genuine. It's just absolutely amazing, and the vibe was completely different from when you go, for example, to Mexico or so on, when you have all those shops for tourists. It's like it happens; it's part of the deal, right? And then you go further, and then there's no more of them. But here, there was a couple of shops, but it's up to you to get in there just to shop around, and it was really really nice. So what we disembarked, and just a tip actually for you guys, especially if you take those extraordinary journeys, please consider. I talked about like getting there early, like 1-2 days before, but stay there after. Stay a couple of days after. That's what we've done. So I rented a car. It was a good price, to be honest. And the roads are like on I was in Papeete. So that island has basically one road, just cycling around the island, to be
Goodness, that's
honest.
great. You didn't get lost. Yep.
So it's very hard to get lost, to be honest. And what we've done, so there's two parts. There's the western part and there's the eastern part to the island. So we've been actually to the eastern part to the south part, and we just rented a lodge basically for a couple of days. It was amazing. There was this hot tub you can see here. It was beautiful. I really adored it.
So authentic. Oh, it's beautiful. I love
there
that.
was a shower. The shower was outdoor, but it was beautiful weather. It's like you literally could take your shower, you could see the hot tub, and I will keep you not. That was the view you had from my room, from the shower. I would shower and see that every day.
That looks like an artist rendering. Like it looks fake, but it is.
It does, and that's the funny thing.
So beautiful, right?
I guarantee there is no filter on that picture.
I'm not accusing you. I'm saying like it looks so beautiful. It looks fake because that can't be real, but it is.
It is. It was. I was actually on the hammock every day. We stayed 4 nights here, and we had a blast. We went around the city to finally before we flew back. So that was the last day, and funny enough, the very very last day. So the flight was late at night. It was the only day we had rain. It was heavy rain, but that was the only day in a vacation that was almost 3 weeks total. So it's okay. And so what we decided to do, there was this waterfall actually on the northern part of the island. So we've been to the huge. It was huge. It was absolutely gorgeous. There's a little hike, not too much, it's about 10 minutes. It's a national park, which is beautiful. So it was amazing. It was Sunday, so that's literally the day out for many families of locals as well. So it was really. I wish I had that at the corner in Toronto.
Yeah, absolutely. Goodness, that's gorgeous.
And finally, my last meal. So that was actually on that next to that place. So we had the tuna. That's tuna. It looks like beef. That's tuna. That's how good it was. Like, and I was craving for fries, and I love it. Tuna and fries is one of my favorite things. So it was amazing. And that was the last night. So that ghost here is actually my mom under the blanket with a plane. And back to reality. So I hope actually that you liked this experience. I know I've had a lot to say, so
that's okay. No, I loved that. That was great. It's so cool to see it. And you know what? It just looked stunning. Like the scenery, the blue skies, the green water. It looked phenomenal. Goodness. I love
it. It was truly, and I know those kind of journeys, to be honest, because they are typically longer. Sorry, they can be a little bit more pricey than once again my famous 7-day Bermuda or Caribbean. Right. Okay, but to be extremely honest, not that much, and I will tell you why. Because we're talking about, as I mentioned, like 7 days, 12 days, 15 days. We have even like cruises 20 days. The reality is that not everybody can afford to spare a few more vacation days, paid vacation days, especially if, like me, you are still active. My mom, she's retired. Technically, if she wanted, she could do actually all year long, she could go on those kind of cruises. So the reality is the demand on those are slightly lower than something that is easier, like closer to US. So technically the prices are really, really good. That's why I booked that cruise. To be honest, the prices, especially at the beginning, were just so awesome. And I was like, I just want to do it. And I know, the pressure is there. It's like, I'm going to spend a little bit more than usual. I don't want to screw it up, excuse my French, because I don't know when I'm going to go back. I would be able to go back to those dream places. And it's, you know what? It was worth every single penny. It was just amazing. From everything, from the weather, the food, the itinerary, the ship, of course. My crew is amazing. It was a fantastic experience. So please, think about those trips. Think about those longer itineraries.
I never look in dollars. I look in value and in memory.
Yeah.
And I sort of look at it and say, yes, it's expensive, but look what you're getting from it. Look what you're, all that time, the longer journeys, the more immersive experiences. It's 100% worth it. It's so incredible.
And value is the good word, because technically on the paper could look a little bit more expensive. But once again, if you compare prices, it might not be that much more expensive, not as much as you can think of. And that's just, if you can just go for it. And I have to say, there's one thing that my mom told me at the end of the trip, when she was crying at the airport because we were splitting. And I'm a very bad daughter, because when she cries, she does that every time I visit her and I'm leaving. So I tend to poke on her, to pull her leg on that one, just to dramatize a little bit the situation. But she told me something that made me cry. She was like, she managed to do it. And she was like, I want to thank you for bringing me on that journey, because I think without you, I would have never been in my life. And she said, I think she's 64. And she said, that is the most beautiful trip I ever been on my life. And I was like, yeah, she made me cry. And it was like, oh.
You're like, don't do that to me.
It was good. It was really a great experience. And think about it, if you have maybe family members all across the country, even internationally, like me, right? Your family may be in another country. That's a great thing to do, like we did. Just join together for the last leg of the trip or directly at destination, so you can enjoy a true vacation all together. That's why cruising is fantastic, because that enables multiple people from multiple places to join all together on one ship and spend every single minute of their vacation time together, building memories, and not in a plane, little boat going from point A to point B.
I know,
because vacation time is very precious.
It is. And we don't get as much vacation time as we should, or we don't get to enjoy as much vacation time as we should. So maximize on your time away.
Should I tell you how many paid vacations we have in France?
Sure. What do you get in France?
Between 6 to 8 weeks a year.
Oh my goodness. My husband's in the same company just over 30 years, and he gets 3 weeks. He gets a 3-week shutdown, and that's it.
6 weeks is the bare minimum. I have to say that sometimes, funny enough, I won't say it's too much, but it's like you have to squeeze them in actually in your work. When I was in UK, it was 4 weeks, 4 to 5, it was perfect. But 2 to 3 weeks.
That's like a week every second month. So that really does refresh you and bring you back. And I think we need to sort of go to that mantra, right? So awesome. Wow. Well, I really loved that you put that together. Thank you for sharing your personal experience.
You're welcome.
And that means the world to me. And again, I always love meeting with the wonderful Cindy. And it was just so great to see all that and know that you're going to be so taken care of by the staff on Norwegian Cruise Line as well. Because I've sent some of my clients on that same itinerary, and they came back raving about the service, where they went, what they did. It was phenomenal. Like, they loved it. Almost as much as you.
It's amazing. And we just opened actually a few weeks back. There's going to be my closing remarks. We just opened the new season 24-25 for the extraordinary journey. So we're going across Asia. We're coming back to French Polynesia and Hawaii. If you've never been to Alaska, for example, we have this fantastic itinerary that would look a little bit the same, but that's what we call the fire and ice, because you're going Alaska and Hawaii. So misty, icy mountains versus volcanoes on one very single trip. We have extraordinary journeys, of course, in Europe, Africa. We have actually now, you can go to South Africa, for example, you can go to the eastern coast of Africa. We're exploring more about Middle East as well. We have more and more open jaws. So open jaws, this is those extraordinary journeys when you start in one port and you end in another one, just like I did. We have, for example, this amazing itinerary departing from Haifa in Israel, so very close to Jerusalem, ending in Athens or Rome, for example. So the oldest cities in the world that you could, like, imagine if you stayed couple of days before, a couple of days after.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Those are my favorite because you get to explore more like you're there.
Exactly.
You're already there.
And you're going through Greek Isle, you're going to Egypt, you're going to Cyprus, you're going to Istanbul. There's plenty of options and to make the best of your time.
So much culture to explore and to see. And
I know, so much to see.
We got to get out there. Alrighty. Well, if you guys want any more information on this itinerary or any of the extraordinary journeys, be sure to reach out to me, info@PolynesiaSunshineTravel.com, and I will make sure that I get you there. I hope everybody has a great week, and we'll see y'all next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's cruise chat with Cindy from NCL. I thought it was totally awesome to see her personal experience and to see all of the pictures from her cruise that she took. I mean, oh my goodness, like I was blown away. The sky is so beautiful and so blue with just those white fluffy clouds. The ocean was a gorgeous green. It was something. I loved it. And I hope you guys enjoyed it too. I really do. And if you want any information at all about this cruise or any other cruise that NCL sails on, be sure to reach out to me, info@PolynesiaSunshineTravel.com. Thank you so much for following along with this journey with me. I have loved meeting with all of the different cruise lines. It's meant a lot to me that I've had this chance to do that, and I hope you guys are enjoying it too. Next week, I'm going to be meeting with Explorer Journeys, and we're going to be going over one of their just amazing ships because they're launching soon, and I'm really excited about that. I believe it's in July, so it's just a few short weeks they're going to be launching. So July 2023 for those of you who are looking back and looking at these after some time. That's just an incredible cruise line, and I'm excited to meet with them as well. So I hope you guys are subscribed so that you can see when new episodes come out. I try to put them out every Thursday. Sometimes right now, especially, I'm really, really busy helping clients, helping you guys get your trips booked. So it's taking me a little bit longer to get them up than I'd like. I apologize. There's only so many hours in the day, and they seem to be quite full. But as always, my clients always come first. So I really hope you guys know that when you're my client, you're going to come first in everything I do. And I'm really excited about all of the journeys you guys are taking. So thank you for entrusting me with your vacation time. So make sure you subscribe, and that way you can see when it comes out. If you enjoyed all of these, also remember that we have our podcast form. So all of these episodes are audio only on the podcast so that you can listen to them when you're on the go, when you're doing things. So check out Cruising the Waves podcast, and you can see all of these episodes that we have as well that are just on your favorite platform. They're on Apple, they're on Spotify, whole bunch of different ones I don't even know, but absolutely it's there for you. And I thank you for following along with me. I will see you guys next week. I want you to have a great week, and we'll see you soon. Bye, guys.